This gripping story begins in Japan, 1954, with Nick Eliel, a former American soldier serving a 10-year prison sentence. In the opening scene, Nick is scrubbing the grimy bathroom area of the prison, his expression hardened by years of confinement. Suddenly, 5 imposing men, their bodies adorned with tattoos that tell silent stories of power and violence, emerge from the bathroom, glaring at Nick with unspoken menace. Once they're gone, Nick cautiously steps inside, only to be confronted by a horrified sight, a man hanging with his hands bound above him. Shouting for help, Nick rushes to save the man. Moments later, a squad of guards storms in, dragging Nick and the other inmate aside. Their punishment is swift and brutal. The head guard, barking orders in Japanese, waves a letter found on the victim, though Nick's lack of understanding leaves him in the dark. The tension builds as the head guard's frustration boils over, and Nick is thrown into solitary confinement. Inside the dim, claustrophobic cell, Nick discovers he's sharing the space with the very man he saved. The man introduces himself.
My name is Kyoshi.
A member of the powerful Shiramatsu Yakuza clan. Kyoshi, speaking in fragmented English, reveals an audacious plan for escape. He explains he will fake a desperate act to be sent to the hospital, where Shiramatsu allies will aid his escape. In return, he promises Nick the protection of the clan if he assists.
I need your help.
Nick listens intently as Kyoshi lays out the details. A sharp tool is needed for the act, and Kyoshi entrusts Nick to find one. The opportunity comes while the prisoners labor under the watchful eyes of the guards. Nick spots a jagged rock among the rubble, carefully pockets it, and later sharpens it into a crude blade. Back in the cell, Kyoshi prepares for the risky move. He grips the sharpened rock, his eyes locking with Nick's. Kyoshi's voice is calm but urgent as he gives the final instruction. Nick must ensure he survives and call the guards at the right moment. The plan unfolds with tense precision. As Kyoshi collapses, blood seeping from his self-inflicted wound, the guards react in a frenzy, rushing him to the hospital. The chaos works in their favor, and Kyoshi's escape is set into motion. Nick's role in the plan earns him an unexpected reward. His sentence is quietly shortened, and he's released ahead of schedule. Emerging from prison, Nick is almost unrecognizable, his hair freshly cut, his beard shaved, and his face carrying the weight of his experience. He steps into the world outside, his fate now intertwined with the mysterious promises of the Shiramatsu clan. A sleek black car waits outside the prison gates as Nick steps out, his freshly shaven face unreadable. Inside, a driver silently nods in acknowledgement and drives him to the Shiramatsu headquarters in Osaka. Upon arrival, Nick is greeted by officials of the clan who offer their gratitude for his pivotal role in Kyoshi's escape. One of the leaders, exuding authority, presents him with his first job, a negotiation involving an American businessman. Nick, with no hesitation, agrees.
You could help us with that. Or maybe I could.
That evening, a Shiramatsu member hands Nick a stack of cash to cover a hotel stay. Instead of retreating, Nick explores the city. He finds himself at a gambling den and later a dimly lit bar, where the lively hum of patrons fills the air. There, he notices a striking Japanese woman whose presence commands the room. Intrigued, he tips her generously before slipping into the night. Next day, Kyoshi escorts Nick to a metal factory for the negotiation. Inside, Nick meets Anthony Panetti, a brash American running the factory. Panetti's demeanor is far from welcoming. He sneers at Nick, mocking Japanese culture and belittling the Yakuza. He flatly rejects Shiramatsu's terms, boasting that he's also negotiating with the Chu clan from Kobe. Panetti's arrogance reaches a peak as he dismisses Nick with contempt.
And now, you can get the house.
The tension in the room is palpable, and Nick knows words won't shift the balance. Without warning, he grabs a hefty typewriter from the desk and slams it against Panetti's head, leaving the man stunned and bloodied. The message is clear. Panetti reluctantly agrees to Shiramatsu's terms. Following the job's success, Kyoshi and the Shiramatsu members treat Nick to a celebratory night at a bar. The atmosphere is jovial until members of the rival Seizu clan barge in, radiating hostility. Tensions rise as a Seizu member provokes Nick. his taunts laced with malice. Nick's patience snaps, and he smashes a bottle over the man's head, sparking chaos. Guns are drawn on both sides, but the Sezu members, outnumbered and outmaneuvered, retreat, muttering threats. Nick's unflinching aggression impresses the Shiramatsu, earning him deeper trust from Kiyoshi. As a reward, Kiyoshi grants Nick a luxurious apartment and proposes that he officially join the Yakuza clan. With little hesitation, Nick agrees, his allegiance cemented. Kiyoshi soon involves Nick in another job, this time dealing with a rebellious bar owner refusing to comply with Shiramatsu's control. When negotiations break down, Nick doesn't hesitate. He slashes the owner's throat in a single, decisive move. Kiyoshi finishes the job with a brutal stab, ensuring the clan's dominance remains unquestioned. Afterward, Kiyoshi takes Nick to a Shiramatsu-owned nightclub to relax. Amid the pulsing lights and music, Nick spots the petite Japanese woman he had seen at the bar. Her magnetic movements captivate the room, though she's surrounded by other men. As Nick watches, Kiyoshi steps in, pulling her off the dance floor. His protective demeanor and stern tone suggest he's concerned about her safety, especially with the ongoing tension involving the rival Su clan. Later, Kiyoshi asks Nick to escort the woman home, introducing her as Miyu, his sister.
Nick, take my sister home.
When they arrive at her doorstep, Miyu shifts from coy to playful, teasing Nick as she invites him inside. After some hesitation, he accepts, and they share a moment of connection. As they talk, Nick notices a Yakuza tattoo intricately etched onto her back, a mark of the underworld ties that now define both their lives.
I should go.
Shit. The next day, Kiyoshi assigns Nick a critical task, purchasing weapons from an American soldier. He stresses that the deal must remain discreet and detached from any Shiramatsu connections. This means Nick must handle everything on his own. At the docks, Nick finds an unexpected scene, a lifeless body on the ground. Before he can process what's happened, members of the rival Tsu clan appear, attempting to disrupt the deal and steal the money. Anticipating trouble, Nick had hidden the $2 million in his car early. Frustrated by their failure to find the cash, the Tsu members confront Nick aggressively. One of the two men orders Nick to kneel, brandishing a weapon. Nick appears to comply, but as the situation escalates, he springs into action. The remaining members retreat, leaving Nick victorious but fully aware of the dangerous repercussions. News of the incident quickly reaches the Shiramatsu leader, who calls a meeting with all key members, including Nick and Kiyoshi. The leader demands an explanation, suspecting that someone leaked the details of the weapons deal. Kiyoshi defends Nick, assuring the leader that the $2 million remains untouched. However, the leader reprimands Nick for escalating the conflict by confronting the Jew members, warning that his actions could provoke a larger gang war. To prevent retaliation, the leader orders a traditional gesture of apology, 2 severed fingers sent to the Chu clan. The weight of the punishment is palpable. Kiyoshi, feeling responsible for involving Nick in the mission, steps forward and offers to take Nick's place. Moved by Kiyoshi's loyalty, the leader agrees. Both Nick and Kiyoshi contribute to the peace offering. A grim but effective resolution to avoid further bloodshed. Later, in a private car ride, the Shiramatsu leader speaks candidly with Nick. Their conversation unveils deeper suspicions. The leader believes there's a mole within the Shiramatsu clan, likely feeding information to the Chu. The car eventually stops at a ceremonial venue where Nick is officially inducted into the Shiramatsu clan. The ceremony, steeped in tradition, marks Nick's acceptance as a trusted member of the family. That evening, the clan celebrates his induction with a lively gathering at a bar. Amid the festivities, Nick steps outside to speak with Kiyoshi privately. During their conversation, Nick reveals his relationship with Miyu, Kiyoshi's sister. The revelation doesn't sit well with Kiyoshi at first, his protective instincts kicking in. Yet, beneath his initial disapproval, there's a sense of begrudging acceptance as he sees the sincerity in Nick's words. After learning about their intimacy, Kiyoshi reluctantly gives his blessing, recognizing Nick's sincerity. With a mix of apprehension and acceptance, Kiyoshi congratulates Nick, acknowledging that their bond now makes them brothers in more ways than one.
Congratulations. Don't be ever your brothers.
Having earned his place in the Shiramatsu clan and Kiyoshi's approval, Nick decides to commemorate his commitment by getting a traditional Yakuza tattoo to match Miyu's. The intricate design symbolizes loyalty and strength. As the tattooist works, Miu stays by Nick's side, explaining the deep cultural significance of the body art. Her presence reinforces Nick's determination to embrace his new identity fully, not just for the clan, but for the family he is building with her. In the days that follow, Nick immerses himself completely in the Yakuza lifestyle, earning respect within the clan. But the shadows of his past encounters linger. While riding a train with Miu one afternoon, Mick's sharp instincts catch sight of a familiar face, a Seizu member who had once tried to kill him at the docks. Tension flickers in his eyes, though he keeps his thoughts to himself, determined to protect Miu from any danger. Meanwhile, the Seizu clan arrives at the Shiramatsu headquarters with plans to propose a business deal. Their approach immediately raises eyebrows. Instead of sending a respected elder, they dispatch a younger representative, a decision that Shiramatsu leader sees as an insult. Despite the leader's displeasure, Orochi, a senior officer within the Shiramatsu clan, advises him to accept the deal. Orochi's insistence only fuels the leader's irritation, leading to an outright rejection of the proposal. That evening, Orochi and Kiyoshi drink together at a bar. Frustration bubbles over as Orochi vents about the Shiramatsu leader's dismissal of his advice. Kiyoshi, sensing Orochi's growing anger, warns him to tread carefully, but the damage is already done.
You understand my English?
Consumed by his frustrations, Orochi leaves the bar and seeks out Miu. Their past romantic relationship adds layers of complexity to their encounter. Orochi, desperate to rekindle what they once had, pleads with her. Miu, however, is unwavering in her rejection, firmly asserting that their relationship is over. Orochi's fragile composure shatters, and in a fit of rage, he lashes out and attempting to harass her. Miu manages to escape, her resolve to stay by Nick's side stronger than ever. The next day, the Seizu and Shiramatsu clans meet again, this time at a sumo match, a setting steeped in tradition and formality. The Seizu chairman personally approaches the Shiramatsu leader, raising the stakes of their proposal. This is no longer about business, but an audacious invitation for the Shiramatsu leader to retire and merge the clans under Seizu's control. The boldness of the offer sets the stage for an inevitable confrontation, one that threatens to unravel the fragile threads of peace holding the clans together. The Shiramatsu leader firmly rejects the Seizu chairman's audacious offer, considering it a blatant insult to the clan's honor. As tensions rise, Nick steps forward with a sharp reminder. He warns the Seizu chairman that the Shiramatsu are wolves, fierce and untamed, not mere dogs confined by fences. On his way home, Nick encounters an unexpected figure from his past. Polly Bowers, an American soldier and his former partner, appears out of nowhere. Bowers, currently on leave, is both surprised and pleased to see Nick. Their initial reunion is cordial, but the mood quickly shifts. During their conversation, Bowers reveals that he knows Nick faked his death to avoid a court-martial. And threatens to report him. Realizing the danger, Nick swiftly changes tactics, inviting Bowers to his home under the guise of hospitality. Once at his place, Nick keeps his composure, offering Bowers a drink to lower his guard. In a sudden, calculated move, he plunges a small knife into Bowers' neck, eliminating the threat before it can escalate. Nick disposes of the body and heads to Miu's house, seeking solace. When Miu opens the door, Mick is horrified to see a fresh bruise on her face. His anger boils over as he demands to know who hurt her, but Miu refuses to reveal the culprit. Instead, she drops a life-altering revelation.
Has the baby in me?
Despite the emotional weight of her confession, Miu surprises Nick by asking him to leave. Conflicted and frustrated, Nick reluctantly departs. Determined to protect Miu and their unborn child, Nick visits Kiyoshi to share the news. He tells Kiyoshi that he is willing to leave the Shiramatsu clan if it means ensuring Miu's safety. Instead of reacting with anger, Kiyoshi invites Nick inside. In a solemn gesture, Kiyoshi presents Nick with two swords, a traditional daisho set. He explains the symbolic meaning of the blades, one for taking lives, the other for zone. Kiyoshi, who has cared for Miu since she was a child, entrusts her future to Nick, placing immense faith in him. Moved by the gesture, Nick accepts the responsibility and picks up one of the swords. He then seeks Kiyoshi's help in burying Bauer's body, solidifying their bond of trust. Meanwhile, at the Seizu clan headquarters, Orochi is revealed as a traitor, seething with bitterness. He conspires with the Seizu leader, plotting the Shiramatsu clan's downfall from the inside. The next day, the Shiramatsu leader, accompanied by Kiyoshi and Nick, visits a tailor shop for a fitting. While the leader is in the dressing room, Nick senses something is amiss and goes to check. To his shock, he discovers an employee attempting to strangle the leader. Nick leaps into action, struggling to save him, but the situation takes a grim turn when Kiyoshi arrives. Without hesitation, Kiyoshi shoots the assailant dead. The group scrambles to leave, but their escape is cut short by an ambush from Seizu clan members. A fierce battle erupts as Nick and Kiyoshi fight valiantly to protect the leader. In the midst of the chaos, a Seizu gunman targets Kiyoshi and the shot finds its mark. Kiyoshi collapses, fatally wounded, leaving Nick and the Shiramatsu leader devastated. At the clan's hideout, the leader calls an emergency meeting with the remaining members. He reveals that Seizu clan members were part of the car escorting them to the tailor shop, confirming the existence of a traitor within their own ranks. Anger boils over as the Shiramatsu leader declares war on the Seizu clan, vowing to avenge Kiyoshi's death. When Nick breaks the devastating news of Kiyoshi's death to Miu, she is overcome with grief. Her cries echo through the room, and her anguish only strengthens Nick's resolve. Alongside the remaining Shiramatsu members, he begins a relentless campaign to dismantle the Seizu clan. With calculated precision, Nick eliminates Seizu operatives one by one, his actions striking fear into the heart of their organization. The tide of the war begins to turn when Nick intimidates a high-ranking Seizu leader, leaving the Shiramatsu on the brink of victory. However, the Seizu leader sends a chilling message via a young boy who delivers it to the Shiramatsu headquarters. The message proposes a decisive, weaponless battle in a neutral location to end the bloodshed, once and for all. Despite the risks, the Shiramatsu leader agrees, sending Nick and the remaining clan members to the docks for the final confrontation. At the docks, the atmosphere is tense. The Seizu chairman arrives, flanked by none other than Orochi. In a shocking turn, Orochi openly admits to betraying the Shiramatsu, aligning himself with the Seizu clan. The Shiramatsu leader, heartbroken by Orochi's betrayal, approaches him with open arms, offering forgiveness and pleading for him to return to the clan before it's too late. But the moment of reconciliation turns deadly when Orochi stabs the Shiramatsu leader his life in a ruthless act of treachery. The Shiramatsu members, now surrounded and outmatched, can only watch helplessly as Orochi declares the end of the Shiramatsu clan. He turns to Nick, offering to surrender his life in exchange for Nick leaving Miu. Refusing to entertain Orochi's manipulative offer, Nick prepares to strike, but a sniper's bullet tears through his leg, halting his advance. Meanwhile, the Seizu clan orchestrates a police raid, setting fire to the Shiramatsu headquarters and crushing what remains of the once powerful clan. That night, Nick sneaks past Seizu guards to reach Miu's home. Determined to rescue her, with quiet determination, he spirits her away to safety. But his quest for vengeance isn't over. Armed with the Daisho sword Kiyoshi entrusted to him, Nick boldly marches to the Seizu headquarters. Standing before the clan, he demands the right to confront Orochi and settle the score.
What do you want? I want you to allow me to kill him.
Orochi, confident and dismissive, tosses the Daisho sword back at Nick, mocking him as an outsider who will never truly belong to the Yakuza.
You are the Yakuza. Outsider.
Nick's response is swift and final. The Seizu clan leader, witnessing the execution, surprisingly intervenes, preventing another member from retaliating. He orders Nick to leave, acknowledging that he has avenged the Shiramatsu by eliminating Orochi. Nick complies, leaving the Seizu headquarters in silence. The story concludes with Nick arriving at the apartment where he has hidden Miu. She embraces him tightly, their shared pain momentarily eclipsed by the relief of being together again. A Shiramatsu Yakuza member guarding the apartment bows to Nick, silently acknowledging him as the potential new leader of the Shiramatsu clan.